Hello and welcome everybody to today's Commodities Corner session presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So today, guys, during today's session, we will be covering the biggest trading opportunities right now, how to use fixed odds trading for maximum profits. Live market analysis will be identifying high probability trade setups on commodities, and of course, we'll be answering any questions you might have during the course of today's session as well. So before we get started, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is the world's #1 commodities trading and investment coaching company. We're regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading, and as internationally respected experts, our analysis on the metals, the energies, and the agricultural markets are routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, Global Banking and Finance Review, the Wall Street Journal, and of course it's a pleasure to be here today on binary.com as well. Our team of experts has trained and mentored over 100,000 private traders from all over the world to increase their wealth, generate substantial monthly income through commodities using our signature trading strategies. So for more information on the Gold and Silver Club and our expertise, feel free to visit our website, which is www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. Okay, so with that, guys, there's been a lot going on this week, especially, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware now, in the lead up to the Brexit vote, which is going to be just next Thursday. So it's been a pretty big week already in terms of volatility, which I'll cover very shortly on the charts. We've essentially seen gold breaking out here to 18-month highs. We've seen silver also breaking out over this week. We've seen stock markets breaking down. We've seen the pound breaking down to an 8-week low. We've seen a lot of capital come out of the FTSE. So before this vote takes place next Thursday, we're already seeing a lot of volatility in the markets. There's definitely been some good trading opportunities over the last week based off the fear which is increasing in the markets as well as we head into next Thursday. And our job really as traders, investors, is to really navigate these waters in a way where you're protecting your capital, you're allocating your assets appropriately, and you're also maximizing on opportunities where you're keeping your risk in check as well. So you'll note at the moment, hedge funds have increased their net long positions in gold by 20% now to 186,562 lots, pushing prices to an 8-month high this week on Brexit fears. We had the FOMC statement, which was delivered on Wednesday by the Fed, and that confirmed that there's been no change in interest rates. And with that, we saw the US dollar sell off initially. We saw a big spike overnight on gold. And they also, Janet Yellen from the Federal Reserve, also commented that they are awaiting the results of the Brexit vote next Thursday in terms of any additional interest rate hike decisions that they're going to be making at the moment. So there's a lot of eyes on this huge, unprecedented announcement next Thursday. At the Gold and Silver Club, we're certainly getting inundated with calls, with questions externally regarding this huge event next Thursday. So with that, we'll aim to give you a bit of clarity over today's session, the sort of opportunities that we're looking at. Gold is now up 21% year to date, so it's had an impressive move, breaking out to 18-month highs. If we look at silver net long positions are now at record highs. So silver bullish net long positions, they're at all-time highs, while silver price is currently up 24% year to date. So silver at the moment is trading at $17.39 per ounce, which is very near to its 2016 highs here as well, and it's actually not too far away from its 18-month highs too. So there's been some huge moves in the markets over the course of the last week. The British pound has now broken down to 8-week lows, so we continue to see the dollar be treated really as a safe haven at the moment. So we're seeing outflows of the pound certainly. We've seen more fear in the markets, and we've seen essentially the dollar against the pound breaking down to 8-week lows, and also against the yen breaking down to 3-year lows. As investors, they're seeking safe havens at the moment. Our research shows us that net short positions, so capital outflows from the British pound, are currently at the highest levels on record since 2013. So we're definitely seeing increased fear in the market. And with this increase in fear, there is, of course, opportunity as well, which we'll have a look at as we go over to the charts. So just in terms of the reason for this fear right now, and it's justified because next Thursday is an unprecedented event. There's no historic precedent for this. It hasn't ever happened before where a country within the European Union has asked to leave it. It hasn't happened at this point. So if that was to go ahead next Thursday, obviously we can expect some pretty big moves on the markets. And if it doesn't happen, we'll probably get a return to the status quo. But in the interim between today, from Friday through to next Thursday, there's still a lot of volatility, which is very likely. And this is one of the reasons that we're seeing the fear in the market. If you look at what happened with the Swiss National Bank, when they abandoned their peg to the euro, it caused a huge move in the market. So you do not want to get caught on the wrong side of a move like that, an unprecedented move. When the ECB, when they cut interest rates, the euro collapsed to a 12-year low. So this is the sort of event that could create a huge move in the financial markets, in global markets. And of course, if the UK was to come out of the European Union, this would have a knock-on effect and cause a further uncertainty up to another 2 years here. So that is why we're seeing a lot of news headlines about the Brexit at the moment. In terms of the polls, they've started to increase for the Leave side over the last week or so, which is why we've seen continued inflows into the precious metals. We've seen those break out to the upside. Obviously, it will all to be decided by next Thursday, which I'll go into a little bit more detail in the charts, but that has caused some increased volatility, so certainly over the last few days. And with that, we've also seen not just gold and silver benefit from that, but also the softs and the grains. So soft commodity volumes, they've now surged to record highs as well. We've seen a lot of investors flock away from equities like the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and they're now moving into safer asset classes, which include soft commodities, which have rallied now over 30% year to date. If you have a look at markets like sugar, wheat, corn, soybeans, coffee, cocoa, these markets have done incredibly well in 2016. In fact, soybeans is one of the best performing markets of 2016, up over 30% this year. And we're seeing, again, global populations growing, concerns over supply, they're all driving prices higher. And these markets tend to not be so heavily affected negatively from the Brexit vote, which is coming up next Thursday. So a lot of traders have repositioned their portfolio into commodities and out of equities and out of Forex, which you've certainly been seeing over the last week. Okay, excellent. So if my voice sounds a little bit hoarse today, it's because of doing a lot. I've been doing a lot of sessions over this week ahead of next week's Brexit vote. I'm sure you guys can imagine there's been a lot going on over the last week in anticipation of this. So we've been very busy at the Gold and Silver Club. So again, if my voice sounds like it's breaking up a little bit, it's just because I've been talking a lot over the last week. Okay, so let's have a look. With that said, let's have a look at the top trade of the week using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategy. So we did catch a really nice breakout trade here on gold, which has continued to follow through. So this was a rise trade for the price to be higher here, entering at $1,252 US per ounce. So for those of you who've been following our sessions, you'll know we've been taking breakout trades here on gold, on silver over the last few weeks here. We had another entry point following on from the non-farm payrolls at the beginning of the month where we broke through a critical resistance. We took that as a swing trade, which has now hit our profit target. And you can see here, very simple trade for the price to be higher, $1,252 US per ounce. The entry price, and that has now delivered us our profit target. In fact, we overshot 1300s there, and that turned out to be a really nice swing trade. So that's a top trade that we've had and exited out of over the course of this week. We'll be looking at two different types of trade, guys. We'll be having a look at the higher and the lower type of trade. So if you select higher, you win the payout if the market exit price is strictly higher than the entry price. And if you select lower, you will win the payout if the market exit price is strictly lower than the entry price. Okay, so these are the two types of trades that we'll be looking at. Essentially, the criteria that we want to utilize when we take a trade on binary.com is we want to get, of course, the entry price. You want to get a good entry price. Number two, you want to make sure that you've got the right direction on that, so whether that's a higher or a lower trade. And number three is the duration. So the duration is important, so when you actually exit the trade. Now, the benefit of trading in this way, and I get a lot of questions about binary options. Is it safe? Is it good to trade in this way? what's the best way to trade the markets? Well, binary, having the ability to trade binary, it's another tool in your trader toolbox, essentially. So what this means, especially in volatile markets like we're seeing at the moment, means you don't need a stop loss. So if you've got erratic markets, you don't need to have a stop loss in the market, and it means you don't have to have a take profit. All you need to do is the trade to close one point in the direction you predicted over the time frame you predicted, and you win the entire payout of that position. So you don't need to monitor the trade all the time. You don't need to worry about your stop loss. You don't need to worry about your take profit, banking half profits, trailing your stop loss. None of that needs to be done. There are pros and cons to different ways of trading, but I would certainly say binary trading, it is very effective, especially in these market conditions where you can just very simply put a trade on. You don't need to manage that trade. You just need to get the time frame right, the entry, and also you need to get the overall up or down or higher or lower worked out, so whether it's a buy or a sell. Okay, so with that said, we'll move over to the technicals. As always, guys, any questions, any comments, do put those in the chat, and I will go through those during the course of today's session. I can already see a few setups here which are lining up at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen, and again, any questions at all, do let me know. Okay, perfect. So I'm just on the gold chart at the moment, guys. So just a quick check-in with everybody that you can see that. Yes, okay, fantastic. Okay, great. So a few points I want to show you first of all with gold. So gold yesterday, it did break out to 18-month highs. We broke above 1,300 US dollars per ounce, and this was really off the back of Wednesday's FOMC statement and increased fears about Brexit, potential exit from the UK exiting out of the European Union next Thursday. And we've continued to see fear in the market. So let me just take you over to a chart which you just want to be aware of right now. So in fact, I've got this on another screen. Hold on whilst I bring this out for you. It's going to be the VIX, and this is essentially the volatility index which measures fear in the market. As fear increases, you will continue to see an increase as well in the price of gold, and you'll see money coming out of funds coming out of essentially equities as well. So let me just show you this. So this is the VIX, this is the volatility index, and this spiked in a big way over the last week and a half. It was sitting right at the lower end of its supportive zone, and you can see here Thursday, Friday, Monday this week, we had a big move to the upside here. In fact, it's retraced up to 50% here from the lows it had previously formed. So that's been a significant jump. So with that, when there's increased fear in the markets, investors, they naturally sell. What investors and traders hate more than anything is uncertainty in the market. And the most common reaction when you're uncertain about a financial event, a major event which is coming up, is to simply close out of your position, exit out of the trade, sit on the sidelines and wait to see what happens with that major news announcement, wait for the dust to settle and then re-enter into a position. So with that said, when fear increases in the market, that's often what you see. So we've seen a lot of capital come out of the FTSE, out of US stocks as well. We've seen them come out of the S&P 500. The Dow Jones has broken down. Asia shares have broken down over the last week, and we've seen quite a lot of outflows in those markets and inflows into commodities. We've seen outflows of the pound, of the euro. We've seen inflows into the US dollar. So it's being able to understand that and then seeing where the capital is moving to. And what's happened is that as fear is increasing in the market, more capital has then steadily gone into gold and also into silver as well. So that's really what we've seen over the last week. Now, you will note that gold at the moment formed a big rejection candle on the daily chart yesterday. Now, gold was really getting overbought once it got above the 1300s. It spiked up to 1,315 US dollars per ounce. It's worth noting that the hedge funds, the money managers, they didn't get in at the lower end, at the upper end of this move. It's more the speculators, the retail traders, the speculative traders who got in, who typically will get in right at the highs. So they're buying at the highs and they're essentially selling at the lows, which is the opposite way around that you want to be doing this. So you want to be looking at this in terms of investment demand. There was a huge push to the upside at the 1200s, which came about from larger institutions, from money managers, on the back of non-farm payrolls at the beginning of this month, which was the worst non-farm payrolls in almost 6 years. And then we got another push higher here towards the beginning of last week, which is again where the funds, money managers and so forth, they entered into this position at a better price, but they don't get in at the highs. They might add some additional positions at this point, but they don't get in big once we get a break above these levels. So we've seen natural buy orders kick in above this level, but we have had a bit of a retracement here on gold, although it's starting to find support again around the 1280 zone just this morning. So we did get quite a nice pop to the upside. 18-month highs breached. Headline news for gold yesterday. Now, what can we expect over the next week really here for gold? Well, I think the overall sentiment will be determined as well by the amount of fear which increases now in the lead up to the Brexit vote next week. There is a direct correlation between the leave vote and gold. So the more that we see the polls in favour of leaving, the more you will see gold go up and vice versa. If we start to see a shift back to remain, then you're more likely to see gold start to just consolidate ahead of the Brexit vote next week. And again, there is also a lot of speculation as to if the UK does leave the European Union, that gold could spike, and certainly, yes, it could. So we could see quite a huge move to the upside. I would be looking initially at a sort of take profit zone or a major event zone being at the 1350 zone. If we were to see that, again, it will be the fear trade. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty if the UK comes out of the European Union. This is unprecedented. It's never happened before. So with uncertainty, you're going to get essentially a lot of traders just selling their positions, especially any exposure to the UK market. That could be the pound, it could be UK investments, could be the FTSE, could be stocks. They'll come out of it. They don't want to risk it. They want to preserve their capital and allocate their assets elsewhere, and gold will benefit from that. But of course, if we do see just, which is what the bookies are expecting. So if you go down to a bookie's to place a bet, for example, on the outcome of the Brexit vote next Thursday, it's currently sitting in the region of 60-40%. So 60% they'll give you in terms of odds there, 60-40 for the UK to stay just within the EU. Why is that important? The reason it's important is because the way the bookies work out the algorithms that they use to actually work out the odds are quite important in terms of these sort of events. So they correctly predicted as well that Scotland would also stay within the UK when there was a vote for that. And one of the major factors of that is that the majority of undecided at the last minute often are likely more likely to go with the status quo or remain versus actually leaving. So you've got quite a lot of percentage which are undecided at the moment, and the bookies have a lot of data on that. And when you have the general population who goes to vote who are undecided, most of the time, well, the stats on it and the data do dictate that the majority of people who are undecided would then just go with the status quo, which would be a remain vote, which is what the bookies are banking on. But in the interim between now and then, there's going to be volatility. So the reason I say that, and I'm giving you this information, is because we want to work out what gold is going to do really over the next week and a half, and what silver is going to do. Well, the next week is pretty much this time next week we should have the vote. Should be by 10 o'clock London time on the Thursday. We should know what's happening, but we could see more upside here. So gold right now, I think in the short term here, it is a little bit overbought. It's kind of in consolidation zone around 1280, 1288. We'll see if it was to break above 1315 again. This could cause a nice little surge again. You'll see just buy orders kick in above that level, breaking above 18-month highs again. So that could be a trading opportunity. Right now, we've benefited from a lot of this move, and unless you're in an earlier trade, I would suggest there are other markets you can look at here as well. Silver also benefited, nice breakout yesterday. It sold off into the close, but that hasn't followed through. I would find it unlikely at this point in time for the metals to fully break down ahead of the Brexit vote next week. There's just too much underlying support, and there's too much increased fear in the market right now. The volatility index shows us that, and we're likely to get more and more fear as we head into Thursday's vote next week. So I would suggest it is unlikely the metals are going to break down significantly. And the US dollar is just consolidating at the moment. So this is the US dollar index, which had a nice bounce to the upside yesterday, formed a doji, little bit of indecision there as well. Platinum is at the lower end of a trend channel. Palladium has also pulled back, hit the lower end of a trend channel as well. So in terms of the overall technicals, that's what we're looking at. Now, the play which I like right now is in fact oil. So we've been shorting oil going back to last week. We've been talking about this for a while, the potential for oil to break down. It came up to $52 per barrel, couldn't get above that level, started to break down. Last week we saw a close below the previous day's high here on Friday, and then this week we continue to see momentum to the downside. This is a position that we're already in here with oil. Note it's come down to its first Fibonacci level, the 23.6 retracement, hit also key moving averages here, 50-day moving average. Price is bouncing off that level, but I'm still looking for more downside here on oil over the coming days here. This 5-day correction, for me, it's not finished just yet, especially as we're seeing more outflows ahead of Brexit next week. So we're getting a bit of a retracement at the moment, which is to be expected, profit taking a Fibonacci level, key moving average here. But ultimately, you can see it's starting to roll over, which is where you get a breaking down formation. So here, you've got what is known as a V-shaped reversal pattern. And then if we can just crack this support, break and close below the 50 MA, then you've got quite a lot of downside potential here, taking it down towards the 42 to 40, 45 to 42 zone. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of a top trade today, guys. I'm looking at the potential for oil here. Also, I just put on your radar gold against the euro. Gold against the euro broke out to 3-year highs yesterday. Got quite a huge rejection candle. It followed through possibly a bit too much yesterday, too overbid to the upside. It was quite a large spike, but gold against the euro is worth also just having on your radar. It's had quite a significant spike. That could get very interesting next Thursday as well. That's also worth just being aware of. But right now, trade that I favor is going to be a sell on Brent crude oil. It's retraced today, which gives us a better entry at the moment. So I'm looking for, again, another sell short opportunity on oil. So I'm going to go ahead and just execute that trade. I'm going to bring it out for you and just show you exactly what I'm looking to do on that trade at the moment. Again, any questions or comments, keep those coming, guys. We'll definitely go over those during this session. So let me just bring out oil. Okay, we'll see. I'm taking this as a trade to be in and out by the close today. So I just double check my timing on that. I think that's all good. See how far we can go. Probably 6 hours. Yep, 6 hours is perfect. We'll go for $2,000 payout on that. Okay, good. Okay, so here's my trade. So it's energies, oil. I'm going for Brent crude oil. And I'm looking for a sell here. It's retraced, so we've already got sell short positions on this from last week and the beginning of this week as well. But we're looking for a short-term trade here. So I'm looking to be in and out of this trade by the close of today. I like the better entry that we've got on oil. Structurally, it's breaking down at the moment. We're seeing a lot of outflows from oil in the lead up to Brexit next week. As fear increases, you'll see stock markets sell off. You'll see oil sell off as well. I appreciate it's rallying in the short term right now, but I'm looking for it to close more bearish by the end of the day. I'm looking for it to close with a red, probably an inverse hammer, or certainly a lower high and a lower low. And remember, I only need the trade to close 1 point lower than the entry in order to win the trade. So I'm looking for, on this trade, there's going to be a stake of $1,133 US, and I'm going for a $2,000 payout. Duration is 6 hours, okay? So any questions at all, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and just purchase that. Okay, perfect. So I've done that. I've gone and just executed this trade. I will put a marker on there just to show you where we've got into the trade. So it's at this point where we've actually entered into a position here with oil, and I'm expecting more downside as we come towards the close today. Could rally just a little bit more in the short term ahead of the US session, but then I'm looking for a rolling over here, ultimately ending in some sort of inverse hammer by the close of today. So in terms of a trading plan, guys, between now and next week, what I would definitely suggest you want to be just aware of is, of course, volatility in the market. So this comes back to the VIX, as I mentioned, the fear trade right now. There's going to be increased fear ahead of next Thursday. Also, depending on different brokers that you might trade with, again, binary offers a very good opportunity here over the next few days, because trades that you take, you don't need to worry if there's big spikes in the markets. You don't need to have huge stop losses, and so that's quite an important point. These sorts of volatility can be quite dangerous on some other platforms as we go into next week. A lot of brokers have put out updates about additional margin requirements over the next week or so. So just be careful out there. Remember, number one rule of investing is capital preservation, and then you want to have good asset allocation. So make sure you're not overexposed in any markets which could potentially lead you to losses if you were to see a vote for the UK to come out of the European Union. Just be careful, guys. Make sure you're protected. Again, binary trading is a perfect way to just trade the volatility without having too much risk there. And I would be looking for, again, the metals potentially more upside into next week, I would look for some sort of consolidation today, but especially if we break above the highs today into next week, we could start to see some good, the highs of yesterday, so the 18-month highs here for gold, we could start to see some follow through into next week. We'll be back here for next Friday's session, which will be essentially after the EU referendum. So, well, the Brexit vote next Thursday. So that will be a good session, so don't miss that, guys. So we'll certainly cover the latest breaking news from that. And in the short term now, we're just looking for a sell short on oil. That's the main trade that we're currently taking on the binary.com platform. Now, with that said, throughout next week, we will, of course, we've got a lot of trading opportunities which are developing on the grains here as well. As I mentioned, there's a lot of capital moving into the agricultural markets. We've had some runaway moves this year on sugar, on soybeans, also on corn, on wheat. There's some great trading opportunities which are coming up on these markets, from everything from coffee to sugar to soybeans to wheat to cocoa to corn. So you definitely don't want to miss out on some of these trade opportunities over the next week. So if you would like to gain access to the Gold and Silver Club, and now is a particularly good time for that, we're seeing some huge inflows into commodities. You can, of course, get that just via joining us at the Gold and Silver Club, which is just www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com. So that will give you access to our exclusive live trading ideas ready to implement for instant results. I'll go over that in a little bit more detail with you. I'll just give you the link now, just before I go into that. So it's www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com to be kept updated with all of our latest trades. So essentially, as a member of the private members live trading room, and again, this is open to you whether you're a new trader, you just want to develop a solid understanding of the markets and fast track your results rather than doing all of the hard work yourself to try and work out how to trade, or if you're an experienced trader and you just really want to take your trading to the next level and you want to transition perhaps into commodities more than forex or equities, stock markets, you want to learn how to trade commodities, or the private members live trading room could certainly be something I would strongly recommend you consider. So the private members live trading room includes exclusive weekly live trading room webinars. So you get webinars, live trading rooms throughout the week, live trade setups ready to implement. You get real-time trade notifications so you don't miss any of the trades. You get exact details of where we're entering and exiting our positions, live trade support to help you through each trade, customized technical charts and indicators to boost your win rate, and exclusive access to our proprietary trading research to give you the ultimate edge in the markets as well. So essentially, to get exclusive access to our private members live trading room, just go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, complete the application, and we'll get in touch with you ASAP. The sooner you complete the application, the sooner we can get you set up for the Brexit vote next Thursday. So particularly important. So if you do want to be set up for that, you need to get in touch ASAP. We've got a jam-packed schedule next week ahead of that. Our team has left some slots available to enroll new traders, but they're filling up really fast. As I'm sure you can imagine and probably hear in my voice, I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit from so much talking. So do make sure, guys, that you apply ASAP if you would like to get yourself into a good situation for this Brexit vote next week here. Okay, so again, www.jointhegoldandsilverclub. Feel free also to contact us at either our UK office, our US office, our Africa office, or our Asia office if you've got any questions. So I just leave the phone numbers on the screen there for you as well. And do make sure too, particularly if you're savvy with social media, make sure you follow us on YouTube, okay, the Gold and Silver Club. You can watch all our TV interviews that we do on a regular basis. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get updates as well with our weekly reports. So make sure you just hop along to the Gold and Silver Club and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest information there too, okay? So with that, let me just leave the contact details. That's, again, UK office, US office, Africa office, and Asia office. And if you would like to make an application, make sure you go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com. Sooner the better if you want to get enrolled next week before the Brexit vote. Okay, fantastic. So with that, guys, obviously, wish you good trading. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll speak to you all very soon, and of course, look forward very much to working with those of you who will be joining us at the Gold and Silver Club. Okay, thanks, guys. Take care. Speak soon. Bye-bye.